I know that there's probably some purists. I know there's a spectrum of people in today's talk. So some people definitely know about data science. Others are familiar with it, but maybe don't know a lot about it. From a business perspective, we've had encounters with organizations who are kind of concerned with their data science department who produces this kind of the same old model all the time, or build an entire enterprise around a single model. A classic example would be like random forest. Everybody feels like that's a pretty safe model, so they kind of wear that one out. But there's actually cases where random forest doesn't do as well as other models. And there's also times when random forest is the perfect match for that. The key is realizing that all data is pretty much different. I mean, there's some profiling aspects that could be useful, and I'll show you that later. But in general, it's important to kind of think about the model inputs as it relates to these targets. And you can see here, these are just kind of big bucket groups of different kinds of models that are out there. And if you don't really know which one you should be using out of the gate, which is hard to keep up with and certainly prone to human error, it's important to think about how could a business handle this smartly? How could they actually, again, create a pipeline that allows you to kind of encounter these different models smartly and see which one actually does better than the others. And a lot of that, it has to do with assumptions of a particular model. Sometimes the transformations that you do with a model, which we showed earlier, actually improve the ability for a model to kind of use that data and go forward. We used to talk about in the context of vegetarians and meat eaters. Some models are meat eaters, which means they can certainly eat vegetables, but they are also going to eat meat. And there's other model types, model families that are just strictly vegetarian. They're not going to eat meat. And so knowing how to handle those kind of processes with a certain kind of models is super, super helpful. Again, for a business, that should be the expectation, is that you shouldn't necessarily see random forest models pop up all the time on every data set. And a lot of times it has to do with the practitioner's comfort level in explaining it, using it, trusting it. But that can be seen as biased and certainly hurtful for an organization. And the AI won't tell you any different. The whole goal for these kinds of models is to produce an actual output. So that is what it will do, unless it's just prohibited from doing that. But it won't tell you that there is another model or another solution that's better than itself.